Hello, everybody. This is Murray back with you today for this new podcast. I got my co-host Hans alongside.
Happy December, everybody.
Yeah, we hope you're enjoying this cooler weather, and we're going to go through the papers now and give you a little heads up on what you're going to find in yours when you get it. So what do you want to start with, Hans?
Well, if you listen real closely and you get real quiet, you might hear some bells in the distance.
Oh, my God.
It's the season, Murray.
Yes, it is.
I got a chance to go to the Festival of Lights, the 25th anniversary of the Hallettsville Festival of Lights, and I understand why it's such a big deal. And it is such a big deal that it's in all four Lavaca County newspapers this week, but it's on the front page of many of them, including the Hallettsville Tribune-Herald. And I went there with my girlfriend. We got to see the courthouse light up right at 6 o'clock. It was beautiful. The parade was such a big deal. I mean, people really went all out for it. They put Christmas gifts on their floats, and it was just a really, really neat event. So I'm thankful to have gone to it, and it looks like a lot of the community was too, because there were, I'm guessing, thousands of people out there.
Well, we had that up on our website, too, at LavacaCountyToday.com. And I think it's been doing well as far as people going and viewing that. I hope that people will understand that you can go to that website anytime, and once you subscribe, you can read all the papers and all these good things.
Yeah, and so this weekend it's going to be the third in Yoakum. They're going to have the Christmas on the Grand event. So for those of you who didn't get enough of that Santa Claus action, there's going to be even more in Lavaca County with Yoakum this weekend. And are there any other great Christmas events that you're aware of, or you just keep an eye out every year?
No, I just more or less just kind of look for them. I'm looking right now, just happen to be glancing at the Molten Eagle, and we have a picture there on the front page, a big color picture of the Molten Royalty float, and it turned out well. And as you were saying, Hans, the Festival of Lights is everywhere. So
And if you wanted to see even more lights, I got a chance to talk to the Simmons family, which is in Yoakum, and every single year for the past 15 years, they've been hosting a family, well, it's called the Simmons Family Christmas Light Show. And it's on the front page. They estimated between 80 and 100,000 Christmas lights. In their light show, they have the sequencers so that you almost see different videos and it's accompanied to music. They really go all out. And to go above and beyond, Aaron Simmons and his wife Frankie, they bake cookies and they hand out hot chocolate for free to the hundreds of kids and families that show up.
Well, that hot chocolate and them cookies would be enough to get me there. That sounds like a good deal.
Well, I recommend to you then and to everybody else that wants to go to check out LavacaCountyToday.com and look for that Simmons family Christmas story. It should be right there on the front page.
Yeah, and I happen to be glancing now over at the Shiner Gazette, and once again we have the Festival of Lights is on that front page, and there's a story by our number one reporter Jimmy Apple about the county approving a race for the attorney. So that's just one of the stories, and you'll have to just get your paper and go through them all and read what you want.
And speaking of that, speaking of getting through the paper and reading it, some of our listeners today, they might have noticed we are a day later on getting our podcast up than usual. And I'll let them know that yesterday I was feeling a little bit sick, but I was reading the paper when in bed, and just to let them know that next week we should be back on the regular schedule. But just a head up I'm sure there's some people who are wildly concerned. They couldn't go to bed at night without knowing where we were.
Well, that Festival of Lights, going back to that, didn't you say on the Tribune Facebook page that it was getting a whole lot of views?
Oh yeah, it was getting a ton. I guess we have a lot of Christmas fanatics here. Really anything like the Simmons Family Christmas Show and the Festival of Lights, people are just so happy to share it. And the Festival of Lights specifically, it was getting attention in Moulton, Shiner, Yoakum, all of the different pages loved it. So I could tell that this was a tradition that is really beloved by the whole community here in Lavaca County.
Well, the way things are in this old world right now, people are looking for some good news, and Christmas will give you that joy if you partake in it and go look at all these beautiful decorations. I know just right here in Hallettsville and in probably all the towns for sure, you can drive around, you can spend several hours just going down different streets and seeing how people have decorated their homes. It's just a beautiful thing to see. I know a lot of people back when I was younger, we would actually load the kids up in the car and just drive around town and let them look at all the lights.
Yeah, now the kids might require a little bit more stimulation with an iPad and whatnot, but still there are some good options. You were telling me that if you drive north on 77A through Hallettsville, there's some beautiful houses on the left.
Yeah, on the left-hand side, and forgive me if I don't know the names of those folks, but they decorate those houses up so beautiful every year. And I guarantee you, when you leave Hallettsville on 77 going toward Schulenburg, you won't be far before you'll see it. You'll see it a long ways away, but it's a beautiful decoration.
And another reason to celebrate this week, and this is mentioned in the Hallettsville Tribune Herald, is the 50th anniversary of a local business, Gene's Appliance Company, is celebrated today, December 1st, as well as tomorrow. And for anybody who'd like to go there and get some free soda and cookies and reminisce over the memories, that's being held until closing time, which I believe that's 8 to 5, but we have that story online and in our newspaper. So go ahead and check them out and wish them a happy 50th.
Yeah, check those folks out, friends. We've bought my family. We've bought several appliances from them, and they're good people. So we need to celebrate with them and be glad we have businesses like that in our town.
Yeah, one of my little buddies, Henry Doyasek,
Oh yeah,
he told me that he had a refrigerator. I believe it was him. It could have been a friend that lasted nearly 50 years from them, and they've only been open for 50 years. So maybe that's one of the secrets to having a business last so long is that you have appliances that last just as long. But of course, today, things are built to be a little less permanent, but still they service right here in town. They go all over the county. So it's just really neat talking to them. And they gave me a little bit of a background about how the company got started in 1972. And it was just really cool to see that they're an integral part of the Hallettsville business community.
yeah, that's an important thing for folks in all these towns is to support your local businesses because they're there and they need your support and you need them there. And they're right there handy if you've got problems or if you need something repaired. So congratulations on these folks in this celebration. It's greatly deserved.
hmm And I was glancing at the front page of the Molten Eagle just now, and I see that for those in Molten who are looking to celebrate and put their Christmas lights up, there's going to be the Mingle on Main, which is coming around. And we have information to contact the chamber, the Molten Chamber, regarding the lighting contest. So for those of you who want to enjoy and celebrate the holiday season, this is the perfect opportunity. And there's a quote from the Molten Chamber saying, "Let's get lit, Molten." So I like that. I love the enthusiasm for
Yeah,
Christmas.
that's also in that Molten paper. Our senior reporter, Jimmy Apple's got a story about shopping and how to stay safe while you're buying gifts. And that's something everybody can relate to in this day and time. So pick it up and read these stories. They're very informative. And these little papers, or I say papers, they're not all little, but we try to cover everything local. And also, Hans, we didn't mention this, I don't believe, it's the delivery of the county papers
Oh, that's a
changing
good
next
one.
week.
That's a good one.
So I'll go ahead with that. The delivery will be changing next week and may cause post office box subscribers and newspaper stands to have a little later pickup time and delivery to subscribers with city, street, or rural addresses, as well as out of the area subscribers and online subscribers, should not see much of a change. But I believe we have this story in all our papers, and that's another one written by Jimmy Apple.
Yeah, I think it's on the front page of most of the papers, and it's also online, or at least it will be soon if it's not already. And basically, not much is going to change. You might have to wait an extra hour or two for your paper for some of our readers, but not too many of them. Going on now, do you have any columns in the paper this week, Mark?
I was really surprised because our pages run according to our ad count and everything. And usually I try not to submit large columns. And this happened to be one of the biggest ones I had. It's a little over 1,000 words. And I believe we got that in Hallettsville. I don't remember exactly what page that's on.
Okay, I'm
Uh,
working through the paper now to find it.
it may be in B section. I'm not sure. It's been getting a lot of views on our Lavaca County Today.com.
Oh, here we are. It's the lost treasure of Padre Island, huh?
Right, right. It's a it's a story about the Singer family. Some of you older folks will probably think about Singer sewing machines. And this guy that's in this story, his brother is the man that invented the Singer sewing machines. But this guy, he was more of an adventurer, and he took his family to the coast. And where were they out of? Galveston or Port Aransas? I
I'm
can't
reading
remember.
through that now while you're looking. It says
Or,
wasn't a square foot at Surfside that didn't have a beer can buried in it.
no, that was yeah. I got a little ahead of myself or behind. Yeah, the whole story starts off about when people started doing a lot of metal detecting. Me and my dad got enthusiastic about it, and I mentioned in there what Hans just said was me and Daddy found that where we were at Surfside Beach, that there probably wasn't a square foot of it that didn't have a beer can buried under it, which drove our metal detector crazy. Further on in the story, it's about the Singer family and what they did.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain Port Isabella is the answer to your
Right,
previous
right,
question.
right.
And so, anyways, for those of you who want to read an adventure story, find out more about this Padre Island treasure, we recommend that you open up the B section of the Hallettsville Tribune Herald. And now moving on to the sports for this week. I know that the Shiner football players are still alive and well, at least they were as of last week. Let's see if we have any updates on how they did.
I believe that we also have St. Paul involved in that.
Oh, yep. I was including them in our Shiner football players, seeing that they're from Shiner. But you're right.
Oh, okay.
Good clarification there.
Do
Uh,
you have that B section?
yep. So Mark Luby has, or actually, this is a photo courtesy of Howard. I don't want to mispronounce his name here. Essie, E-S-S-E, and great photo, by the way. But it looks like they had a win over Flatonia. So congratulations. They said it was a 45-7 final in the regional semifinals last Friday. So it's a big win to the Comanches, and congratulations to them on that.
Well, they're fixing to face a foe that defeated them during the regular season, and that's Refugio. And they only have two losses, the Shiner Comanches. One was to Hallettsville, and one was to Refugio. And that Refugio game was just, man, it was back and forth. I watched it online. And these two teams are always in the hunt for that state title. But I'm still pulling for the Comanches. I don't believe you can beat them people twice.
Yeah, and we have a passage from the article here from sports editor Mark Luby, and he says that China got the usual day at the office from senior running back Dalton Brooks, who ran for 297 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Oh yeah,
What a
yeah.
player!
That kid's something else. He's going to Texas A&M, so all you Aggies can look forward to having another real talented young man in your arsenal.
Wow, he's earned it. He's earned whatever success he's got coming, and I wish him a lot more. And now, just below that China Comanche football story, on page one of the sports section, we have the Cardinals, the St. Paul Cardinals, advancing to state with a hard-fought win over Munster Sacred Heart.
Yeah, St. Paul is always involved too when it comes to these playoff games. They are always there, and we want to wish them a whole lot of luck.
Yeah, it says that last year St. Paul and Munster Sacred Heart they played in the Taps Force state title game, and that's when St. Paul won last year. So it was another great game, Mark writes, and the total was 37-21 uh, for that game total. So congratulations to them. If you want to get some quotes from the players and coaches and want to hear a few more details, check out Mark's story in the Shiner Gazette and
Well,
online.
while we're talking about sports, I came across this earlier that Coach Freitag over in Flatonia is moving on, and he's been quite successful there. And he graduated from that high school, and he's well known around the area. So,
You
uh,
have any details on where he's
no,
headed?
I just come across it earlier today. I know what it was. It was in the Fayette County Record,
Okay.
and I saw that online.
Well, for our Fayette County readers, we recommend you check out your local paper as well
You
and
bet.
find out what's going with your football coach over
You
there.
bet.
Wish him a goodbye.
Yeah, he's had quite a lot of success over there. So what else? You got anything else on?
Well, I think we've just about reached our time limit here. For those who want to read about the early basketball season for all the teams around here, we recommend you check out our sports section. And we have a lot of very up-to-date sports stories online. So if you want to find out what's going on in basketball this year, check out our website.
Okay, before we go, I don't know how many of you younger people know about Pearl Harbor Day. December the 7th, 1941 is when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor and put the United States into World War II, where, if my figures are correct, I think we lost over 400,000 men in that terrible war. And my dad was in the National Guard in Austin, Texas. And when that happened, the very day it happened, he was immediately put into regular Army service, which happens with the National Guard. And he spent 5 years fighting in Germany, fighting in Belgium, and there was many more like him. And so it's getting down to the time now where so many of them World War II veterans are leaving us, and Korean veterans as well. But we need to remember, and you need to tell your children, tell your grandchildren, and in this case maybe great grandchildren, because this is something they may not be taught in school. I hope they are. But anyway, I had to put my 2 cents worth in about that.
No, that's a great point. Having graduated from high school just 5 years ago now, coming up on six, I can say that we were taught about Pearl Harbor and the different acts of terrorism in the U.S., which is so limited that it's easy to teach about all of them.
Yeah.
When I say acts of terrorism, I mean foreign acts of terrorism, international terrorism. But it is taught, but you're right. We're getting closer and closer to it being 100 years ago now. So it is so significant, and this is something that it really should be taught. And I'm sure that we'll see some information coming up online, maybe potentially in the papers, but definitely something that older generations and anybody who knows about it should share with their friends and their family.
Exactly. And if you're fortunate enough to have some World War II veterans still in your family, sit them down and try to get an oral history from them, record them, or whatever. I know one of my nephews did that with my dad before he passed, and we're so grateful to have that, to hear in his own words what he went through. So don't forget Pearl Harbor Day, and don't forget any of these days where we had people over there fighting for liberty. And I'll tell you what, in World War II, the Allied Army, which America was, of course, part of, they freed a lot of people. And they took down Hitler, they took down Japan, and we can't forget that.
So once again, that is coming up next week on December 7th.
December 7th, it's a week from today, as a matter of fact.
Well, until then, we hope everybody has a great week. We thank you for listening, thank you for reading, and we look forward to talking to you again next Wednesday for another Lavaca County News Review.
Yeah, folks, get out and see these Christmas decorations and support your local businesses. So that's all from me. Goodbye, and we'll see you next time.